we have had this pressure from our parents and our grandparents. Buy this, get a mortgage, pay off your mortgage. I kind of had this realization of the choices I make will dictate my future. Now something needs to change, otherwise nothing is going to change. What do I want in my life? How am I going to get there? And how can I use property to help me get to that? Rent vesting, my perfect world. To be able to see an end goal of, hey, wait, I actually could afford this one day if this is what I want and this is how I get there. And then it doesn't seem as daunting.
Ria Marriage, welcome to the Moves to Momentum podcast. Long time coming.
I know.
I feel like
I've been waiting for this moment.
We had one episode with you and then it ended up in the scrapping.
I got punted immediately.
Not you, the episode got punted, right? But you've been with us since September last year. I wanted to get you on to tell a little bit about your story, for you to ask me a bit of questions. Me and you talk regularly about investing, about life, about property. And I think our conversations are interesting. And
I hope so.
Maybe we could let some
to us they are.
Yes. Maybe we could let some people in on it, right? But maybe we'll do a bit of a backtrack. Mm-hmm. You started working here in 2025. And what was your idea about property investing before you started working at a buyer's agency?
Yeah. To be honest, I knew the world of property investing just a smidge, only because my siblings and my family had all done it themselves. So I grew up like having this idea ingrained in me, like save your money, invest in property. But to me, it was such a foreign concept. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I want to go traveling. I don't want to have a debt. Like, it was scary to me. Yeah. The idea of it was scary, but I knew it was something good, but I didn't know any more about it.
Can I dissect that?
Yeah.
The something good is the growth that you get out of the asset.
Yeah.
The something scary is the debt
100%.
and the responsibility.
Yeah, and also just the whole concept of like, what do you mean I'm going to have to get a conveyancer? I have to put an offer in for a place. I have to hold a place. I have to have renters. Like that whole world just seemed so out of touch and terrifying.
It felt out of reach for you.
Yeah.
Was it just that? Like you're like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. It feels out of reach and that's where you leave it.
Yeah, at that time, that's how I felt. But to be honest, now looking back, it's just not being educated on it. Once I came here and I fully understood the process and you see the value and what it can do for you, it's like, oh my God, I understand why everyone was saying this to me for years and years, like save up, invest. And it's so clear to me now.
Yeah. You've gone on a rapid journey. We were in this room when it's not a podcast little room, it's our boardroom. Yeah. We were in here talking to a mortgage broker yesterday, trying to get an equity release out of your place in Shepparton to buy this unit in Melbourne.
For a second property, which is just crazy.
When did you buy that place in Shep?
It settled in January.
In Jan. Yeah. And we're talking, it's May now, and you're like, take a step back. What did you buy? What did you buy?
I bought a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house in Shepparton.
How big's the land?
360 square meters.
360s.
Small, but brick, neat and tidy.
It's known in the office as the Matcha Mansion.
The Matcha Mansion.
Because you got coined Ria Matcha when you came here because the only drink that you drank
was matcha. Every single day, different matcha. They got the matcha specials at Rushi.
That's right.
Every day I would just experiment with matcha. Now, hate matcha. Yeah. Straight coffee only. Yeah.
Caffeine straight in. None of this
caffeine in the IV drip.
Yeah.
But the Matcha Mansion. So I bought it for $357,000. It settled in January, and
yesterday we got a bank val at
417. No.
427.
427.
I know the
427.
427. If I do some quick maths, 70 grand. Yep. 70 grand uplift. January, February, March, April, May. 4 months and you've had 70K uplift.
I know. And to me, isn't that crazy? And like, honestly, the process has been so much easier than I thought. Like holding a property has kind of been really smooth sailing for me. And like, I want to get that out to other people as well. Like, yes, obviously different properties have different things come up and might not be as smooth or easy, but I kind of don't really have to think about it, to be honest.
Did you have tenants in there when you settled?
Yes.
You did. I feel like that is a bit of a cheat code.
That's a big piece of the puzzle. Yeah.
You buy a property with existing tenants.
Yep.
We bought it off market through one of our connections in Shepparton.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you've settled. You've got rent coming in from day one.
Yeah.
And you call up broker 4 months later and say, hey, can you just check how much money I got in this thing? Yeah, you got 70 grand in it and you usable 56 grand usable equity. What?
That was a huge moment for me. Literally yesterday.
Yeah,
we were sitting right here and I went, oh my God.
Yep.
That was a moment for me. It's
very real.
Yeah, so real.
You've been coined as the Queen of the South. Your little patch that you work at Buyers Edge, the area specialist is you do, South Yarra, Paran, that kind of south of the river, all the way across to St Kilda. The agents that you're talking to on the ground, we literally had to drag you from your desk in here because you're doing a deal in Paran right now.
Yeah.
2 bed, 1 bath. What are the agents that you're talking to saying about what's happening in that market?
Yeah. Look, to be honest, the agents are really starting to notice the influx of investors interested in purchasing in Melbourne right now.
Buyers agents or investors, like just retail investors?
Investors in general.
Okay.
Yes, buyers agents, but also other people coming in. I think people are really starting to see clearly and pick up on, hang on a second, we're getting 2-bedroom units, 1 bath, 1 car, in good areas, good quality assets as well, brick, neat and tiny, renovated inside for mid-5s, mid-6s in a city like Melbourne.
Yep.
And also purchase prices are sitting where they were 10, 15 years ago.
Ridiculous, eh?
It's absolutely ridiculous.
That one that you did yesterday for that client, they bought it for $325. Mm-hmm. The people that are selling it, they bought it in 2011 for $305. So they've held it for 15 years and made 20 grand.
And you know what I've noticed is that a lot of people see that and they use that as a tactic of fear. They're like, oh, it hasn't moved in 10, 15 years. It's going to happen again. Like, I want to ask you, what do you respond to that? Because I'm hearing a lot of people say that.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
As a property investor, you want to invest in under market assets, right? You don't want to buy CBA shares when it's just grown, 100% last few years. Like, oh man, this is a real winner. It's grown so much. It's like, man, it's just gone up so much in value. How much more can it go up still? Yeah. Right? And so there's a certain amount of, especially in the property cycle, there's a certain amount of room a property can grow. People say properties double every, 10 to 15 years. They double in value. That's true. But it does. It's not like this linear path to doubling. It has a boom cycle, which is what we're experiencing now in Melbourne, where it's going through a rapid increase. We're talking double-digit growth, 15, 20% growth, stuff like that. You get that. Then you get a bust cycle when there is an oversupply, like, okay, there's so much demand, bang, 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 let's give the oversupply of housing. And then all of a sudden now it busts because there's so much stock now and it caters for all the demand, and now the demand just, I don't know, say diminishes, but it just evens out. So now market busts, and then it will plateau for a while. Like, it kind of just stabilizes. Supply meets demand, and nothing has happened yet to increase demand again, and where there's a requirement for more supply. But what does that look like? Infrastructure spend is a massive indicator. We're buying in Footscray. What's this new hospital or something?
Yeah.
It's,
huge new development at the new hospital. It's bringing in so many people. And the university.
Right? Big government things. Yeah. There's going to bring tenants. There's going to bring owners. There's going to be a lot of industry off the back of that.
Absolutely.
So,
only that, it's 15 minutes outside of Melbourne CBD.
Shivers, man. What's that equivalent of that in Sydney? 15 minutes outside Melbourne, Sydney.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Footscray? Probably like
Glebe or something.
Yeah, maybe Glebe, Alexandria.
Yeah.
Something. And then South Yarra, Toorak is like the Paddington, Surrey Hills.
Right.
I always love using that analogy with people. I'm like, okay, Sydney, right? Say you're from Sydney. What would you expect to pay for a nice, neat, tidy 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom unit in Paddington. Oh, at least $1 million.
Oh, $1 million, you're stealing.
$1 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you've got a similar asset in Melbourne City,
Yeah.
and in South Yarra, the equivalent of Paddington. 600.
The demographics in both of those markets, like the
Yeah.
demographics that live in Paddington, the demographics that live in Surrey or in South Yarra, similar, right? For the cities.
Yeah.
And markets you've got to consider demographics in a market.
Yeah,
What's the average
absolutely.
income in this area?
Mhm.
Is it high? Is it low? Is it going up? Is it going down? Is it young
Yeah.
professionals? Is it old retirees? You know, if it's old retirees, more than likely average income's going down.
Yeah.
People are paying less for housing. But I feel like you've had the crash course in property investing.
Yeah.
You're a property investor yourself now. You're looking to grip number 2. You bought your first, like, still crazy to me. How old are you? 26 or 25?
25.
25?
Yeah.
You bought a property at 25 and you're looking to, within 12 months, you're looking to buy 2 investment properties.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know people who's doing that. I actually know one
Yeah.
person who did that, Morgan Holmes. She's been on the podcast
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
She's now sitting on an 8-property portfolio valued at $5.2 million with a 50% LVR.
Wow. Absolutely incredible. I honestly think so many more people, especially around my age group, could do it. I think it's just about education. Like
Yeah.
once they're educated on, hey, this is the whole process. This is what it's going to look like for you. This is how it can fit into your life so you can still live your life and have fun and have your lifestyle and just grow this asset beside you.
Yeah.
Once people understand that, honestly, I think it could change so many more lives.
So it's the media touts it as like it's so housing market in Sydney's really getting away from all these millennials and they're screwed. They're not going to be able to. And it's like, man, you're just about to buy 2 properties in 6 months, and that's not in the media.
Yeah.
We need to get you in there. Serious.
That's what I'm here for. I know. Yeah. It's people get so overwhelmed, and I understand it. It's like, how am I ever going to be able to afford to buy somewhere and live in Cronulla or live in Bondi? Like, there's just no possible way. But doing it through, like, for me, example, rent vesting is my perfect world.
Yes.
Doing that and understanding that to be able to see an end goal of, hey, wait, I actually could afford this one day if this is what I want and this is how I get there. And then it doesn't seem as daunting, doesn't seem as scary. And when you break it down to, okay, I might need to save up a certain amount of money for a year, 2 years. If that's going to change the trajectory of my life, of course I'm going to do it. And not enough people my age understand that. I would say that we have had this pressure from our parents and our grandparents. Buy this, get a mortgage, pay off your mortgage, and that's your goal in life.
Your parents and your grandparents have told you that.
Yeah.
So is mine.
Yeah. And so is old mates and her mates and everyone's has. And it's like, I feel like that idea has been like put on us our whole lives.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's really realistic for us in this modern day and age. Like, you look at the prices they were paying and the cost of living for them. And to us, it's like, how the hell are we going to do that?
Yeah.
Like, how are we going to do that? I think if people understand that if you just get started and get in, no matter what that investment looks like, it could be a unit, it could be a small house like what I did, just anything that you can work towards and afford to get your foot in and have that experience of, like I had the other day, of seeing, hang on, that's just sat there.
Yeah.
And what do you mean it's gone up 70 grand?
Yeah.
Like, once they have that experience and understanding, and then that gives them the motivation to, hey, hang on, I'm going to save up and do this again and again and again and again.
With your portfolio, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you want to buy this $1 million it's to buy a townhouse or a villa in Caringbah South, 1.5 mil.
Yeah.
Right? That's maybe the bottom end.
Yeah.
You got to save a 5% deposit, which is what, 75, 80 grand-ish, plus stamp duties. Or you get maybe trying to claim some first homeowner stuff, whatever. But like, let's say you're trying to get about 100 grand to buy that, and then you're going to be fleeced with a $1.4 million mortgage or something, right? Anyway, that's daunting to think I've got to save 100 grand. Most people are making 100 grand a year.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how are they going to save what they earn in a year in a couple of years to afford it?
It's terrifying.
How how much does your property cost you to hold it per month? Like how much are you out of pocket a month?
Out of pocket a month, like 1,200.
1,200 a month.
Is that a lot? I feel like it's not that high. I actually can't remember.
That should probably be right because you're 100% debt.
Yeah. I'm like, 1,200 out of pocket a month.
Yeah. So that's your insurance, property management fees. You did very, very low deposit.
Yep.
So you're $1,200 out of pocket. So you're pretty much forcing yourself to save 14 grand a year. Yep. You're forcing yourself to save per year. Yep. I think most people with a full-time job could knuckle down and save anywhere from 10, 12, 15 grand a year if they're like, I'm diligent about this. Yep. You have to. You got no choice.
Absolutely. But
you bought an asset that's gone up by 70 grand in 4 months. And so it's like, okay, you're forced to save. Yeah. I'm saying save, but that's the equivalent of what someone would do to buy the asset. And then what extra do they get from their savings? Nothing. They've just saved 15 grand that year. And then they're going to put it into an asset later. You put it into an asset now and the asset's growing now and you're still forced to save it. Yeah. But it's like, how much is that going to do in it by the end of the year? I'd be dumbfounded if it's not up 100 grand. I'd be dumbfounded. How do you save 100 grand? Someone's going to say in the comments that you're going to have to sell it and pay tax on it. True. You're going to have to sell it. You're going to pay tax on it. Let's say you pay 25 grand tax on it. Mm-hmm. And how are you going to save 75 grand in a year? I don't know how it's possible. Anyway, you don't sell it because that's silly. You're going to keep it, rip the equity out, go again. You're going to earn more money in your day job or you're going to work a second job if you have to hold on to 2 properties now and make an extra 75 off this one again and the next one. Now you're making your income and you're making an extra 140 a year off your property portfolio. And that's just how it starts to compound. Compound. At some stage, you're going to have to restructure and keep moving. Yeah. But that's what I want to ask you,
2 years. So like for me personally, I go from 1 to potentially 2, hopefully 3 in 12 months. In 3 years' time, where am I sitting with that? Like how many properties do I have? Is that going to cost me like yes, my income needs to go up. I need to be earning more money and I'm hopefully investing in like high yielding properties.
Correct.
But what's the point?
Yes. Or that's when we're working with any client, it is, what's your goal? Do you just want to accumulate to no end? There's no steam in that train to keep going hard. Like for what end? The end has got to be something, right? You want to buy Christian Gilmore is a great case in this. His podcast, I get heaps of great feedback on Christian Gilmore's podcast when he talks how he broke down how he got to 80K a year passive from his portfolio by 28. He was obsessed about it for 7-8 years. That's all he was just earning income. I need to make this amount of money in my job to service this amount of loans. This amount of loans will get me this amount of properties. They need to grow at a 15 to 20% growth rate. So I need to buy in these type of markets to get this amount of equity to buy a commercial asset that will give me 80 grand a year passive. Yeah. He obsessed over it. Bang, 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 got there. And now he's there and he's like, I actually don't know what my goal is anymore. Yeah. Because I've got to the goal. What do I do next? Yeah. I also started like you. Yeah. Got into the industry. Yep. Makes sense. I understand how the game works. Yeah. I'm going to buy an investment property. Bang. Goes up in value. Okay. I've made some equity pretty quickly. Rip it out. Boom. Let's go again. Second property. Okay. Sweet. Another deal comes up 3 months later. Hey, I've got some equity. Can I take it out? Go again? Yes, you can. Boom. Go. It was like 3 deals, 18 months. What for? At the time, I didn't know. I was just like, I know I want to make money to get myself in a better position. I remember it was my first ever goal was I didn't want Jamie Lee to work. My mum was a stay-at-home mum and I wanted to give that to my kids that one of their parents was their sole caregiver. Yeah. We've taken that to another step now and done the homeschooling and everything, but that was one of my first goals. I remember when we had Gij, JL wasn't working and we're living at my parents' house trying to save. And it was like, I remember she went to this.
Were you saving for a deposit or were you just trying to save money in general?
I was actually saving, but when I say saving, I actually mean paying debt off because we had this extravagant wedding at fucking Watson's Bay and we're like 30 grand in the hole after our wedding. And now we've got a baby. It's like, oh shit. We just spent 110 grand on that wedding. Why did we do that? Anyway, that's another story.
Yeah.
But yes, I say saving, but that's code in this conversation for paying off debt.
Yeah.
So I forget where I was going because we're just laughing about the bloody debt we're in.
What's your end goal? You didn't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was just like, we got to be better off than that, right? And I'm in a place where I'm making some money and I know I got to invest to start making a bit more money to get ahead. And I remember rock bottom for me was like, JL went to like some TAFE to get a haircut one time and it was terrible, mate. It's terrible.
Wait, she went to a TAFE because it's a cheap haircut and their haircut was bad.
It was like, we just had Jidge. We were staying at my mum's house. We're trying to pay off debt. And we're living at my parents' house. And she's like, oh, I saw this thing, like these TAFE students are doing like this haircut
Yeah, they
thing.
do like $20 haircuts.
And she was like, I'm going to give it a go. Like, you know, I need a haircut and I don't want to pay the, you know, couple $100. So I'll just go there. She come home and it was butched. It was butched, you know.
That was your turning point.
We still have photos of like her growing that out and like I still see those.
You've got a piece of the hair just like pinned up on the wall as your reminder.
It's my reminder. What's the at that point when I first started Property Portfolio, it was just get me out of survival. Like I need to get out of survival. Yeah. And then it started to become like, okay, living a life by design. And that's what I love talking to clients about now the most is like, what do you want? Like I had a client, I'm talking about this one client, but it's always the same conversation. It's almost every week. We've got a couple of investment properties. It's all doing pretty well. We're thinking about retiring or buying a nicer house. Should we sell our owner occupier and go all in and go hard? You can. Yeah. But what do you want to do? Yeah. What life do you want to live? I had a client that just recently was like, you know what? We're selling them. We're selling them all and we're buying a camper van. We're going around Australia. Mad.
Incredible.
You know, like, that's what they want. And that's the life that they want to live. Some people want to go live in hotels. Some people want to do the caravan. Some people want to just work all the time. But once you pick what you want to do, that's when it becomes. And Christian Gilmore is a great example of that. He picked and he obsessed over it for years. And he got to the goal and he got there and he said in the podcast, it's actually a lot less satisfying than what I thought it was. Because like I thought that I'd get it and then like I'm here and then like life is just like the best. Yeah. And it's just like,
now what?
Life kind of just continues and you just got other things to manage and deal with.
So I have a question for you, sorry.
Yes.
So
how rude, you just cut me off. I've had enough of that.
We're done.
It's probably because I'm talking about Christian Gilmore. He's boring.
He's not on this episode, mate. He's done.
True.
No, but I understand where you're coming from and I see that life by design and I love that concept. I'm thinking selfishly for me, right? And for someone in my age group, what if we don't know what we want yet?
Yes.
Like that's a big part of it. Like, can you get your foot in the door knowing that there's potential without having that end goal inside and just get started and then work towards something that you don't know? Because you're saying all these things and I'm sitting here like, oh yeah, I want to be financially stable in my life and to live, you know, a good life and a certain lifestyle that I want. But my end goal, I don't know that yet. I'm still figuring that out.
The crazy thing is, I think if you gave yourself unobstructed, I reckon in 2 or 3 days you'd know. I'm talking, go to Byron. Maybe don't go to Byron because it's a bit fun. Go to like Palm Beach or something where like they're all old. And you could go to sit at a cafe and no one would want to talk to you. And don't have your phone. And just have a piece of paper and a pen and just let it all come out. Let it come out. Jail and I have done this multiple times. Yeah. I haven't done it for a little while and I'm trying to figure out in my calendar when I can do it next in the next 3 months. Okay. Jail did it in November. Booked a room at the W, 3 nights.
Wow.
No phone, notepad and a book. A book for like things. A really good mate of mine when I lived in Dallas, a phenomenal musician.
In Dallas?
In Dallas. I lived in Dallas. You lived in Dallas? Lived in Dallas back in 2018. No, not 2018. 2013.
That needs to be it. That needs to be another episode.
That's another episode. A mate of mine, Joel, I remember I was living at his house at the time and he was about to start writing, like go through a season of writing a new album. Yeah. And I remember he said to me, bang, no music. I'm fasting music for 3 months.
Complete
Radio,
fast.
gone. Never any music at all, because he wanted to,
Wow.
once he sat down and got into the recording studio and started to write and produce music, he wanted it to come out of himself. Not he just listened to Bieber and that melody is in his head and he just produces or creates something like that, but with a bit of a twist. He's like, I don't want to hear anything, and I don't want to hear anything for a significant amount of time, so that when I'm put into that place of producing,
It's purely him.
pure.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, that even just giving me chills even talking about that, right? And that is, Jamie and I had that experience when we went to Tony Robbins in 2024. Lives are busy, we had 2 kids and blah, blah, blah. And, I was working at this amazing company and I was getting the success I'd always wanted. And it's just moving. And it's just like pushing you along. But you never stop. You never stop and be like, what do I want?
Yeah.
And what does that look like? And what don't I want? And is this the life that I've designed, or is this the life that I've been like shoved down? And honestly, like, we're there for 6 days. Within the first 2 or 3 days, you're like, I know what I want.
Wow.
Because you're not doing anything else.
Yeah.
You're just focusing on, who am I? We're being asked a question from Tony. What is your primary question? What's that? What's your primary question? And he explains it to you. Your primary question is the question that you've had success in asking yourself in your life, and it has produced a good outcome in something, and then you just apply it to everything. That's what the brain does. We generalize everything. If that's that, then that's like that in everything. Yeah. So my primary question is, I've been in sales my whole career. Is this worth my time? That's the question that I enter every single scenario in. Is this worth my time? And if you're on a sales call and someone calls you and it's like, is this worth my time? Yes, because I'm doing sales that's going to produce some type of revenue. If I'm talking to a real estate agent, is this worth my time? Yes, it is, because they'll give me an off-market opportunity. I'll present that to a client and bang, that is good. But my desire is that I want to have more connection with my friends and family. Yeah. Then my brother calls me during the day. Hey, mate, what's going on? I'm just driving home. You free to chat? Oh, Luke, not right now. I gotta go. This isn't worth my time.
Yeah.
And it's so stupid that I do that. And it's just such a muscle memory. I'm trying and catch it and stop it. Yeah. Because what I want is more connection with my friends and family. Yeah. But my primary question is only giving me, is this going to produce some type of revenue during business hours? No, it's not. It's like, my primary question isn't serving me. Tony shared that his primary question was, how do I make this better? And in his business, phenomenal. Wow. How do I make this better? All right, we're doing this. How do we make it better? Yeah. Make it better. Boom. Oh, it's better? Great. How do we make it better? Again. Bang, bang, bang. Yeah. And it's like, when you apply that same question, because that's what the brain does, to your relationship, how do I make this better? It also comes with the presupposition of, this isn't good enough. And in your relationship, it burns them. Yeah. And it's like, we're going to analyze our primary questions and rewrite them. Yeah. And you're going to train yourself when you go back home to ask yourself the correct primary question that serves where you want to get to, not this. Just stuff like that. Yeah. Like, we did all of this work of just figuring out like, oh yeah, true. What I want and what I'm doing isn't connected, but I'm just so used to doing it. Yeah. I don't know if this is answering your question, but for some reason I felt like it's important to talk about it, right?
It is.
You don't know what you were saying.
I'm saying I don't know.
Some Gen Zers are out there. I did the Zoltan. Gen Zs.
I can't even do
Gen Zs. They don't know what they want.
Yeah.
But they're also not stopping from the scrolling on their phone.
Exactly.
And just like,
nothing's changing.
Be there in the moment. And like, all of the stuff that we experienced at Tony is online. Mm-hmm. Like, you can just go through some of the stuff on Tony, but you're in the atmosphere and you've paid to be in the room and you've got nowhere else to be. Yeah. So you're like, I'm here for the next 6 days. I may as well do it. Yeah. And then you're forced to do the work. What's the work? Ask yourself the question and sit there.
I think love that, by the way. That was great. And I think
Tony,
I think
great
it
job.
becomes a lot less daunting if you do sit down and you're like, okay, what do I want? And it seems so out of reach. But then when you do that and you work backwards and you break it down and it's like, hang on, I can put a plan in motion here to work towards that.
Yeah.
And for me, I know the start of that is property investing.
That's it. And you just take a step at a time. Do I know, like, we had some goals that we set at that time in 2024 and we've gone past those goals now. And now we're in this season of like, do we just enjoy surpassing the goals for a little bit?
Yeah.
We drove up to Newcastle on the weekend and we're like, maybe it's time we get locked back in.
Yeah.
What's the new goals?
New goals.
You know? What's the new goals? And
that just gave me chills.
Gave me chills. Right, turn the aircon up here. But that is, I think the goals is important, and I think knowing where you want to get to is important. And I definitely do not discourage people in their 20s giving something a crack. Yeah. But if you have got some beacon, it should be based on what you don't want. People make decisions based towards or away from motivators. I don't want to be fat and overweight, so I'm going to exercise. It's not like I want a six-pack. It's not, I want it, but it's not compelling enough to like go and get it. Don't want to be fat and overweight. That's compelling. I'm moving away from that and I'm moving towards the other.
I'll go to the gym, bro.
And that's people. We just move away from something or we move towards something.
Yeah.
And the away from is always the most powerful. Mm-hmm. And if you can picture, and it's very easy, we normally have two role models in our lives, our parents. I know the path that they walked. Am I going to walk that path? Because if I am, and you more than likely are in your life because you just you do what you've been modeled. Do I want that life and that outcome? Yes. Great. You're on the path. I didn't want that life. Yeah. And so I'm making some changes. More than likely, most people don't want the lives. And I don't think you should. Each generation should step it up a level or two each time. Yeah. And I think that's mankind.
I think so. I saw this thing on Instagram the other day and it was like, my worst fear is the day I die, my fullest potential, meeting who I was, not my fullest potential, and explaining everything that they did in their life. And that just straight in the heart. I'm like, wow. Mm-hmm. That point of what you don't want is so much more motivating to make a change. Yeah.
And we don't allow ourselves to sit in that, you know. I'm going back to Tony a lot today. I don't mean to do this.
Shout out to Tony.
He gets you to sit in. He's like, tell me your worst nightmare. You know? For me, my worst nightmare was another guy walking Gigi down the aisle. Yeah. And he's like, okay.
Mate, that's the tissues.
That's the tissues.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, all right, close your eyes. Live it. Live it. And he's like, all right, what's worse than that? How does it get worse than that, you know? And it's like jail making out with some other guy. While Gigi's walking down the aisle with someone else. It's like, shit.
Oh, my God.
And it's like, make it worse. And you fucking bawling. Yeah. You're just bawling because you're like, and he's like, great. What are you going to do so that you don't live that life? And you experience it because you're just sitting there in this room and he's just like, you're doing the work, right? Yeah. And you're just closing your eyes, just like visualizing yourself like Gigi walking down the aisle with some other guy. And you're like, what the hell? How do I not live like this?
Yeah.
So that is, you drill down into the away from motivators. I definitely don't want that life. Mm-hmm. Great. What have I got to do? I've got to be there for my wife first and foremost to keep this union together. Mm-hmm. What's stopping me? And then all of a sudden you're so motivated to be just like, that's gone. That's gone. I'm not doing this anymore.
We're okay.
Yeah. But none of this stuff is that difficult. Yeah. But we just don't allow ourselves the time because we're consumed with the scrolling, with the sports updates and for me, it's sports updates and all these things. And it's like,
it's the constant input of distraction, entertainment, information. It's addictive.
It's very addictive.
We have a moment to ourselves and then all the thoughts come in and it's like, oh, this is scary. Let me distract myself again.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that is...
But that's the power in that. That's where it...
That's why the Z's do not know what they want because they don't know the boredom. When I was... Shawnee, you probably know this too. When I was younger, you'd put on laying on your bed and just listening to some type of music was a thing. Like that was like a pastime, right? And it's like, I don't think Gen Zs have got that. I didn't have it for very long because then very quickly it was MSN Messenger and then you're on the computer and then you're just chatting to people. But I do remember I would have been in primary school just listening to some type of music. Yeah. And it's like...
And that was your form of entertainment.
That was it. Yeah. You're just laying there, just listening to music. Doing what? Yeah. Like if you raw dogged just listening to an album now, people would go insane.
So I mean, people would probably start crying. So they're like, oh shit, all my thoughts are coming in. Yeah.
I'm depressed. And that is a big thing. And there's a period of the first day or two at Tony that you experience all these things. You're like, oh, stuff. I've got a lot of things that I'm not dealing with. Yeah. I drove with no music to the office, home and back for a few months.
A few months?
Game changer.
Raw dogged it.
Game changer.
Wow.
No phone calls, no nothing.
What did that do to you? Or for your mind?
You realise it's just racing. With what? And then every morning you're like, yep, it's racing. Yep, it's racing. Yeah. Then observe. How do I observe the thoughts?
Yeah.
Rhea's buying a lot of matcha at the office. I should tell her to ease back on that. You know? What's my action? What do I do about that? All right, I've got to have a call. I've got to have a chat to her. Yeah. All right, Rhea, I think you're having too much matcha. I agree. Bang. Then tomorrow, that thought's gone. It's not in there anymore. Yeah. Because I observed it and I did something about it. Yeah. But like I'm putting myself, I'm not a Gen Z, but I'm throwing myself in there too. I get caught in the busyness of life and clients and this and that and emails and text messages. You're just like, I don't observe this anymore. And is this aligned to what I want?
What I want and my goals.
So I am throwing that out there for the Gen Zs.
Yep.
Take some time, turn it off, have a notepad, have a pen, and there is a trauma that you're going to experience for the first few hours of just raw dogging the silence. Purge, like just let all of the things out. After some time, you're going to observe. You can start to observe. Once you start observing, write them down. Write it all down. Then, what can I do about any of these things? I can do stuff about this. Can you action it then and there? You might be able to. You might be able to just text someone, I hate you. And I don't ever want to talk to you again, or I just need to let that out.
Yeah.
Bang, tick, done.
Tick, done, cross it off.
It could be anything. But
I think that's great advice, and I think
knowing what you want is definitely important. I'm sitting here also saying I haven't done that exercise recently because the last 18 months has been supercharged for me, and I've gone past my goals that I thought I was possible. Reset, bang, go again.
Isn't that amazing? And do you think writing those goals and doing that exercise really changed the trajectory and everything that you were doing?
Honestly, those 6 days changed my whole life. Yep. Those 6 days changed my whole life. And it's so stupid to think that it's that easy. Yeah. You know? It's honestly that easy to just sit there and be like, what life do I want?
Yeah, what do I really want?
Then it's like most people stop it. I don't know. They don't sit there long enough and listen, right? Or you can just go through a basic elimination.
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely don't want that. Yeah, I don't want that. You know, like the first person you dated is not like the person you end up with. Some people that is true. Yeah. You know, and they are very lucky, but it's like I definitely don't want that anymore. Yeah. Or I want someone with that type of characteristics, but I don't like that. And bang, you meet someone else and they're like, oh, they've got that and they've got this. This is good. And then you learn something else about it and they're like, oh, but they've got no hygiene.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want that.
It's like, that one.
They're gone. So you're like, well, those two were important, but now hygiene is definitely the most. Yes. And then you all of a sudden start to structure, this is what it looks like. Yeah. So, and you're at such a stage of your life. I kind of woke up at 25.
Yeah.
It was just like, it's all my fault. Whatever happens from here is actually my fault.
Yeah.
Like I made the decision. It's because of me. And then you're like, okay, that can be either liberating for some people or it can cripple some people. Which is you're in an interesting time.
Yeah, I had that similar experience when I turned 25. I kind of had this realization of, oh, hang on now, I can't just, keep having fun. And I absolutely can keep having fun, but getting all I will always have fun, let me preface. No, but it was just like, hang on now, the choices I make will dictate my future.
Yeah.
More importantly now than ever.
Yeah.
And yes, I've cruised and I've traveled and I've done everything in my early 20s, and yeah, that's great, but now something needs to change, otherwise nothing is going to change.
I've seen you change so much, and you're constantly, you've jumped in the deep end and you're putting yourself in the deep end. Yeah. Most of our clients are sophisticated property investors. There's a few people on our, I think it's because a lot of the branding that we're doing is around me and my property portfolio, and I'm a dad and blah, blah, blah. We normally attract the 40-year-old family, You're talking to families about investing in South Yarra, right? Investing in units in Melbourne Metro. These people who are 15 years your senior. Yeah. And how do you do that? Like, how do you manage that or deal with that? Or I think it's impressive, but like, give us some insight into that.
To be honest, I don't really think it's got much to do with me. I think it's got to do with the opportunity that we're providing them. When you're in such a market that it's at the start of the growth cycle, and you know that there is a lot of potential of growth within it, and you show them that, and you show them, hey, this is what we're buying. We're getting it at this price. They bought it 10 years ago for this price. There's not a lot of there's infrastructure spend in the area, low building approvals, population growth to the max in these areas. And it's like, we predict that it's going to grow like this. It's following, it's cooking.
Yeah.
And it's following places like Brisbane.
Yeah.
I think presenting that and, as an opportunity for a family, people, they've got kids, they're all working hard, but again, it's not enough in this day and age. And you show them the potential. Why wouldn't they?
No, that's very true. It's about the numbers.
Yeah.
It's about the numbers.
Yeah. Is that what you are asking?
Yeah. I feel like it's an interesting thing of like you've come in as a new property investor and you're working with most of these guys have got 10 properties, 5 properties, 6 properties already, You've only got the one, but you're having these high level conversations with property investors every day, and you're just started the journey and they're on the journey.
They're on the journey. Yeah. But I see it. I've seen what it's done for our past clients, and I hear the stories. I see the actual results, and that gives me so much confidence to present something to someone with confidence and say, hey, I think this, and this. These are all the numbers. These are the data. Ultimately, it's up to you.
What's some of the trends that you've seen, or maybe some of the similarities with the clients that you've worked with?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that, actually, because I wanted to ask you about 1-bedroom units.
Ooh.
Because we obviously purchase a lot of 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom units, and to most people, that's a safe, neat, tidy investment.
Yeah.
We're seeing an opportunity for strong capital growth in the 1-bedrooms with super strong yields.
That's
and
right.
so we're getting excited and we're getting into this, hey, I think we've got something here in a new type of market.
Yeah.
But I notice I'm getting quite a bit of pushback of just unfamiliarity with people with 1-bedders.
It's got to be the right client. Not every client should buy a 1-bedder, right? It's like back in the day, granny flat deals were massive. You buy a house, 700 square meter corner block, you put a granny flat out the back. That's a good deal. But should everyone do it? No, not everyone, It depends on where you're at in your property portfolio. Yeah. I think what it's right for, I think there's 2 kind of camps. The first camp would be they're early on in their property investing journey. It's not going to be an anchor property in their portfolio, but it is going to give them a property in their portfolio that is going to give them access to the market, access to some capital growth in the next 2 to 3, probably months. They'll get growth in a few months. But let's say they hold it for a 1 to 3 year window and get capital growth. The most important thing at an early stage investor that I try and focus on is the cash flow. Yeah. If you're buying an asset for a client and they're negative $2,000 a year off the bat, it's their first investment property, it's a drastic change to your lifestyle, to a lot of things. But if you're doing something that's maybe out of pocket $200-300 a month, and you're understanding the whole process, bang, it's in. It is also what I like to call a stocking filler for some people who are building serious portfolios. Hey, I want to go hard this year. I want to buy 10. Sweet. I don't think you're going to buy 10 700 square meter blocks in Melbourne Metro, blah, blah, blah. And now all of a sudden you're going to be out of pocket $200,000 a year. Yeah. I don't think that's, if you could afford it, I still actually don't think it's the best thing for you, even if you can afford it. There needs to be a decent blend of, some units and give you different exposure to different types of assets when you're building a property portfolio. Yeah. I don't know if that answers your question, but I think it's always got to be right asset for the right person at the stage of their portfolio. I think that's what I'd like to think sets us apart, is that we know that and we are talking to the clients and understanding where you're at in your portfolio, what do you currently have, what are you currently saving per month, the biggest question I get on discovery calls is, I've got 120 grand and we save 4 grand per month. What
do I do with it?
What do I do with it? And what can I afford? Yeah. Like, they just know they need to buy an investment property, and it's like, oh, I can buy that? Yeah. 100%. How much is it going to cost me?
Yeah.
Maybe $1,000 a month? No brainer. Let's go.
Yeah.
And it's like, these are normally very well-educated people who have got some serious jobs, but they're just not educated about the property market. And one deal, my first property I ever bought, 4-bed, 2-bath, 800 square meter block in Perth. You can't build a whole property portfolio of those. That was bought in my personal name, right? I'm going to rip the equity out of that. Go again. I've ripped equity out now, and I started to buy trust from that property. And I've started to buy stuff where I can balance a trust, so it's actually positive or close to positive, with a couple of mechanics to do so. That property right now is worth $1 million. I can't buy that property today at $1 million and pop it in the portfolio. I still think it's going to grow. Yeah. It did 25% last year, but you can't keep adding those things. You need to
diversify it. Yeah.
Some cash flow, some growth assets, some cash flow assets. Yeah. And I'm talking about, I've just started doing this thing 6 years ago. Yeah. It takes time. You add a couple of those. I've done a couple of reno deals. You can't build your whole property portfolio off reno deals either. Yeah. But there's a time and a place to do different types of deals in people's portfolio. The more money you earn, the easier it is. And sometimes that's a bit of a blessing and a curse. Yeah. Oh yeah, I can afford it. I'll do it.
Would you think for, say, a young Gen Z,
yes,
a one better with a strong yield is a good option for them to get their foot into the investing world?
How much are they saving per month?
Let's say they're saving $3,000 a month.
$3,000 a month. How much cash do they have?
$70,000.
Yes. Like, you have to qualify it down a little bit, right? And then the other piece of the puzzle is, are they a young couple? How long they've been dating? Blah blah. Is it serious? Are they going to get engaged soon? What's the marriage situation look like? Those things are going to not destabilize the situation, but it's going to.
They're factors, though.
It's factors to
consider.
Keep in mind. Yeah. Right? So it's like, right now, yes, you've got $4,000 a month that you save, and maybe we're only going to spend now $500-600 of that, or maybe even less than that into this 1-by-1 unit. They could do a guarantor loan and keep the 70 grand and buy a 2-by-1. They could do that. What's the difference going to be? They're going to be out of pocket maybe $1,000 or $1,200 a month out of pocket on the 2-by-1 with the guarantor loan, because it's 105% lend, instead of doing a 12% deposit on the $350K 1-by-1. So it's like, these are all the things that I'm thinking of when I'm talking to a client or a couple or someone, of like juggling That's how much you're
Assessing-
making. That's how much you're saving. What's coming up in your future? What are your goals? How does that align to what the decision we're making now? What type of flexibility is that going to leave in your weekly, monthly budget to keep building your portfolio or to go on a holiday? Or for goodness sakes, you guys fall pregnant tomorrow. Whoops. Okay, well, that's great. But then now it's like all these things that can happen. It's like, you got to leave a bit of room. There's some school of thought out there. It's like, take every single dollar, go hard, leverage, bang, bang, get one in the guarantor, use the 70 grand, go two for one, rip the equity out in 6 months' time and go again, go 2 to 4. It's like, that's how you can do it.
You can,
And
but that's not realistic for everyone.
Correct. Yeah. And I did something similar and it put a strain on my marriage, it put a strain on my career, and it's like, it does stuff to people when you push it like that. Yeah. It's not you get the results, but I think you need to make decisions in your life. Coming back to Tony again. Yeah. Financial. I'm doing this to make a financial return. Yeah. I'm doing this to make a return in my relationship. Mm-hmm. I'm doing this to make a return in my lifestyle. I'm doing it can't always just be, and it's the easiest thing to measure. And I think that's why I would talk for guys get so addicted to work, because it is an amazing vehicle to be like, I put this effort in and I get that back out. And it's like, it's so clean and it's so clear. Effort in, out, in, out, in, out. And it's like there's no feedback loop like that other than investing. I'm going to put this money in and I get that out. I'm going to put this money in, and you're like, how long can I do this for? Yeah. In my relationship, I put time in with Jamie Lee. She might have the shits with me afterwards. It's like, all right. Maybe like I do it again tomorrow and then she's over the moon and she wants to cuddle me and all this type of stuff. Fantastic. It's like, it's not clear and it's not clean. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't invest it there. Yeah. But it's like when you sit down and you go to Palm Beach and you just sit there with your diary, what do you want? Then it becomes clear.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love it. I want a 2-bedroom unit in South Yarra.
You do?
That's what I want.
But honestly, it's been so nice chatting to you. And this is exactly what I wanted from this episode.
Yeah.
Like we talk about some really deep stuff. We talk about clients. We talk about property. But I think overarching is like, what do we want for our lives? And I feel like I really enjoy mentoring you because I wish I had someone in my mid-20s that would just be like, kind of just giving us a course correct or just like, and I think you've got so much potential to do massive things in this career, in this industry, right? And you're just getting started, mate. Just getting started.
So excited. And honestly, like since starting here, it's been so much more than just the world of property investing. But like you said, the mentorship and guiding me of what do I want in my life? How am I going to get there? And how can I use property to help me get to that? So thank you, you legend.
Ria Marriage, come on down. Unreal app. Thanks so much, Ria.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks so much for listening to the Moves to Momentum podcast. If you got any value out of this episode, please give us a like or subscribe. Or if you think this is relevant to any one of your friends or family, please flick it to them so they can have a listen.